Jessica arrives at an abandoned town to film a documentary. Can you count the number of vampires in this field? Nine. Jessica approaches the local mansion. Can you count the vampires around this place? 0. We only showed you 7 ghosts. Jessica enters the mansion and meets Albus. His age today is 3 times what it will be in 3 years from now, minus 3 times what his age was 3 years ago. How old is Albus? Let's say that his current age is X. Then, the following equation will help to figure out the answer. So, Albus is only 18. Albus hosts a party and invites Jessica. The party goes well, and Jessica makes a lot of interesting videos. But suddenly, the lights turn off for 20 seconds. When the power is back again, Jessica sees that someone has stolen her expensive video camera. Albus questions 3 suspects. Casimir says, "I was eating when the lights turned off. Luckily, I managed to grab the last strawberry cupcake at this party." Morgana says, "I didn't touch her gadgets. I was dancing with Bastian when the lights turned off." Bastian says, "I only came to this party to see Morgana. I didn't look at other women or their things." Who's lying? Casimir. There's a bunch of strawberry cupcakes on the table, so he didn't grab the last one. Jessica checks her phone and sees something really odd. Can you spot a mistake? Wi-Fi and airplane mode can't be active at the same time. Angelina, Karen, Margot, and Sandra have a musical jazz band. They arrive at the party to perform at a concert. But just before the beginning, everyone realizes that Karen had disappeared. Albus finds her locked up in the basement of his mansion. "It was dark, so I didn't notice who locked me in." Can you guess who did that? Angelina. Her outfit was okay when they arrived, but she tore off the sequins from the dress because she got caught on the iron door when she locked Karen. Albus shows Jessica his home office and offers a game. "If you can manage to open my safe, I'll give you all the money I'm hiding inside." Can you help Jessica figure out the code? Take a look at the dice in these 2 paintings. It's a clue. The code is 6324. Albus points at these 2 women and tells Jessica, "Meet my wife, Nina." Can you guess which lady is Nina? His wife is the maid. She's wearing a ring while the red-haired lady isn't. Jessica arrives back at her office, but she can't unlock the corporate computer. Someone changed the 10-letter password and left this clue. Can you figure out the new code? The clue is a rebus, so the password is accelerate. Jessica meets 3 guys online. Later, she visits their places to show how they live. Which guys should Jessica start dating? Magnus has wedding portraits all over the room, so he's married. And Leo seems to be a criminal, so she should choose Nick. Early in the morning, Jessica receives a call from her coworker, Tyler. "Jess, please come as soon as possible. I've just arrived at work. Someone robbed us. It's a huge mess. They even trashed the furniture." Jessica comes to the office and studies the crime scene. Tyler says, "Look, they stole all the documents and expensive video cameras from this locker. But I've got the only key. That means the robber broke the lock. I bet it was one of your new employees, Jill and Dan. I think they work for another company undercover. What do you think?" Jessica replies, "I doubt it. You'd better tell me why you're trying to frame those guys." Why did Jessica think that Tyler is lying? The locker was locked when she arrived. Tyler has the only key. If Jill or Dan had broken the locker, they wouldn't be able to lock it back up. Jessica was invited to an elite billiard room. She finds the entrance, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-digit code. Can you help her figure out the password? Take a look at the poster on the door. It shows 4 numbered billiard balls organized in a row. These numbers are the password: 8, 15, 3, 4. Jessica is watching the news. A mysterious thief keeps on robbing people in Paris. He sneaks into hotels and steals jewelry and cash from tourists. "Oh no, I'm going on a business trip to Paris tomorrow. I should be careful." The next day, Jessica lands in Paris. She arrives 3 hours before the meeting and decides to check in first. She arrives at her hotel and meets a lonely manager in the lobby. Jessica says, "Room number 505, please." "Of course, let me show you in, miss." Jessica immediately realizes that this guy is the thief from the news. How did she guess? It's a 3-story hotel. There can't be a room 505 in the building. Jessica met Francois online, and today they're finally meeting offline. They go out on a date in a cute Parisian restaurant. Everything's going great. Francois is a smart and handsome guy with a good sense of humor. The waiter brings the desserts. Suddenly, Jessica jumps up and runs away from the restaurant. Why did she run away? Jessica saw Francois' face in the news. He's a runaway criminal. Jessica enters the local gift shop. The owner complains, "Someone stole the goods from my shop. About 10 items disappear from the shelves every week. The staff members have no idea who the thief is." Jessica offers the shop owner to investigate this case. She watches the CCTV footage and identifies who's guilty right away. What about you? Can you spot the thief? It's this lady. She put the stolen goods in her bag. Jessica goes to the local haunted house to film a documentary. She takes 3 friends with her: Louis, Madeline, and Pierre. No one ever dared to enter this house because of creepy rumors. But the guys decided to check it out and see for themselves. They enter the living room and click some Polaroids. They take a good look at the images, freak out, and run away from the mansion. Only 4 people walked inside the mansion. All 4 are standing in this picture. If they're here, who took this shot? A ghost? Jessica finds a puppy on the street and brings it to the nearest vet clinic. The puppy only had a collar with its name, but no information about its owner. After a while, 3 people arrive at the clinic. Each begins to insist that he's the only owner of this puppy. The doctor calls the police and they interview each of them. Clark says,
I was so scared. I called the animal shelters in this city, but they didn't know where Fluffy was.
Oliver says,
I was walking the dog in the park. I turned my back for just a minute and he was gone. I have no idea why he ran away.
And Sam says, Honey, I bought a new bone for you. Come over here. Who's the real owner of this puppy? Take a look at the puppy's collar. Its name is Toby, but Clark called him Fluffy. And Sam is trying to lure the puppy with a bone. So the real owner is Oliver. Jessica is visiting a speed dating event. She talks to 3 guys. Each tells her a couple of facts about himself. Pierre says, I'm an artist. I've just signed a contract to paint a wall in the local co-working space. I've never been in a serious relationship, but now I'd like to find a muse and settle down with her. Jacques says, I'm El Reto. I used to be married, but she moved abroad. And now my work is my only girlfriend. And Glenn says, I run my own restaurant. I'd like to find a soulmate to cook delicious meals for her every day. Who should Jessica choose? Pierre clearly wore a wedding ring. There's a tan line on his ring finger, so he's a liar. Take a closer look at Jacques. His nails are too sharp and his legs are very hairy. It's a full moon, so he's probably a werewolf. It's not safe to date a beast, so Jessica should choose Glenn and enjoy his cuisine. Hey Brightsiders, I've prepared a new portion of mind-boggling riddles. And what does it mean? It's time to put on your detective hat. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jake loved making bets with his friends. This time, he bet that he could put a bottle of water in the middle of his living room and crawl into it. His friends were sure they would win. But somehow, Jake won the bet again. Can you understand how he did it? Well, Jake said he would put a bottle of water in the middle of the room and crawl into it. But he didn't specify if he would crawl into the bottle or into the room. So he simply crawled into the room and won the bet. Now try to crack this riddle. It's nothing but holes tied to other holes. At the same time, this thing is as strong as steel, but not as stiff as a pole. What is it? It's a chain. Dylan was trapped in a basement. The only thing he found inside was a note and a pen. Find the way to get 200 out of 188 with one line, and you'll be free. 5 minutes later, the door opened automatically, and Dylan was free. What did he do? He drew a horizontal line to divide 188. This way, he got 2 ones and 4 zeros. Look at these 4 people in a grocery store. Can you figure out who is going to steal a watermelon? It's the man with a soccer ball. It seems as if he's holding something heavy. It must be the watermelon disguised as a soccer ball. Robert was a collector of unusual coins. One day, the man called the police and reported one of his rarest coins missing. He was sure the culprit was one of his brothers, Frederick or Matthew, who lived together with him. One of them collected ancient books, and the other was crazy about rare stamps. All the collections were kept in the same large room in the house. The key to the room was kept in a vase standing on the fireplace. The only other person besides the brothers who visited the house was Robert's friend Mark. When the police arrived, they found out the room had been opened with the key. The officers also didn't find any fingerprints. Do you know who stole the coin?
Uh-oh.
It was Mark. He was the only person who had a reason for getting rid of the fingerprints. The brothers' fingerprints would be absolutely natural since they live there. Now you have to think outside the box to crack this one.
Yeah.
1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters, the word 3 has 5, and the word 5 consists of 4 letters, but the word 4 has only 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4, and the game will end there. Look at this picture. Can you figure out which mermaid is his wife? Have you spotted a tattoo on the man's neck? It's the letter L. See? And now the mermaid on the right also has a tattoo. It's the letter J. They most likely depicted the first letters of each other's names, so they must be husband and wife. The next picture for you. Which girls are sisters? These two mermaids are sisters. Have you noticed that they have identical moles on their faces? Wow, a race on seahorses? That's something new. But can you figure out which mer person is cheating? One of the guys has a robotic seahorse. See that USB port on its neck? And now look at these young people playing beach volleyball. Can you figure out who's not human? It's this girl. If you compare her with her friends, she's the only one who's not sweating and isn't red-faced because of the heat and exertion. Kimberly inherited an old house from her rich aunt. When the young woman was exploring the cellar, she came across a massive wooden door. She opened it and saw a small room with 3 bags and a note. One of the bags has $1 million and the others are empty. You can only open one bag, so think carefully. Kimberly also noticed that there was a message on each bag. The first bag claimed, "The cash is not here." The message on the second bag was, "The cash is not here." And the third bag said, "The cash is in the second bag." If only one message is true, which bag has the money? The money can't be in the second or third bags. If it was so, then 2 messages would be true. It means the money is in the first bag. This next riddle will challenge your math skills. Add this number to the same one and multiply the result by 4. Then divide it by 8. And you'll have the very first number again. What number is it? It can be any number. You can try it out to make sure. Jason took part in a game show and ended up as one of the 2 contestants to make it to the finals. He came up to the table with 3 cups on it, but only one of these drinks was safe to try. The other 2 were poisoned. And even though a mistake wouldn't cost Jason his life, the consequences would be unpleasant. The drinks were tea with sugar, cappuccino, and hot chocolate. Which one should Jason choose? If it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have melted completely, but it didn't happen. The cappuccino looks suspiciously green. It's probably unsafe to drink. Jason opted for the hot chocolate and won the challenge. A man was in an 8-story building when a fire started. He jumped out of the window but didn't even bruise himself. How is it possible? The man jumped out of the first-floor window. I was driving along the highway when one of my car tires burst. I stopped to change it, but when I came back to the car, I saw it had a flat battery. I looked around and realized I was in the middle of a small town. I decided to wait for someone who could help me. Suddenly, I heard glass shatter. The night was very dark, so I switched on the headlights and saw a man with a large bag climbing out of a house. I immediately ran to the nearest police station to report the crime. That's what Mr. Darrison told the police. The detective who was listening to him asked, "And where did you hide everything you'd stolen from that house?" How did he come to this conclusion? If Mr. Darrison's car battery was flat, how could he switch on the headlights? Can you figure out which passengers on this bus are zombies? There are 2 zombies on the bus. This man with a bandage on his neck and one ear missing. And this business lady sitting near the window. She's making bizarre growling noises. How about some rebus puzzles? Here we go.
Yeah.
What does it mean? That's how you greet people. Good afternoon. Okay, now try this one. It's progress underway. And how about this one? Ah, this one was easy. It's accelerate. It was winter when an elderly couple finished building a pretty new house. The husband was responsible for the construction, while his wife was a self-appointed decorator. The house looked beautiful. Very proud, they invited their grandchildren to have a look at their work. But within an hour, the kids managed to break several windows. They also knocked down the fence, removed the decorations, and ruined the roof. But the most bizarre thing, the grandparents didn't seem to mind. Can you figure out what happened there? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to eat it.
It's Lily's birthday, and Leah offered to treat her to a spa day. They arrived at the marvelous Pink Lotus Boutique Spa for their day of treatment and were sent to different rooms. One of the women received a text on their phone saying, "Be careful. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which friend is in danger?" It's Lily. The drink on that waiter's tray is definitely poisoned. She should get out of that place as fast as she can. Hello. Jonah woke up in a different timeline. Normally, he was a straight A student, but in this reality, he was a pretty bad student. His teacher put him in detention to see if his grades would get any better. During detention time, he had to solve some puzzles. For each puzzle he solved, he got points that would help him raise his grade. His first task was to find the difference between both images. He only had a few seconds, though. Can you help? Yep, that one on the right didn't have the scribble on the paper. For his next detention challenge, Jonah had to spot the difference between these two rabbits riding a motorcycle. Don't ask too many questions, just help him out. Yep, it was the helmet all along. Dana is a swimming champion preparing for her competition on Monday. 24 hours before the big day, she disappears. Nobody can find her. Her mother calls the police and asks them to investigate the crime, and they come up with 3 suspects. All of them are swimmers. Hannah says she hasn't spoken to Dana since their last practice. Ashley explains that she invited Dana for lunch on Saturday, but Dana refused because she was getting her hair done for the competition. And Melanie says that she spoke to Dana the night before. Dana told her that she was feeling anxious before the race. One of the swimmers is lying. Who is it? I mean, it's definitely Ashley. It doesn't make sense for a swimmer to get her hair done before a swimming match. It will get wet anyways. Daniel is a sailor on a large cruise ship. One day the captain asked him to go to the ship's lowest deck and get some supplies. But as the man was walking down the ladder, it broke and he fell down. Try as he might, he couldn't get out. And oh no! The situation was worse than he thought. There was a hole on the ship's hulk, and water was starting to fill the lower decks. Take a look around. Is there anything Daniel can do to save himself? Yep, he could put on a life jacket and wait for the water to fill the lower deck. He will simply float upwards, and then he can climb up those stairs again. I mean, if that ship doesn't go all Titanic, right?
Yeah!
Amelie was exploring her grandmother's closet when she came across something spectacular. A time machine. She set the date back to the 16th century and pressed go. She spent the day exploring a local market, but people kept looking at her differently. One man came up to her and said he knew she was a time traveler. He locked her in his basement and said he was going to look for where she hid the time machine. Amelie was so frustrated she got caught and was afraid she might never go back to her real life. That's when she saw that the basement had an old piano. Do you have any clue how Amelie can use that piano to escape? That's a tricky one, but she should play it until she finds the right key. You decided you needed to go on an adventure, so you packed your backpack and went hiking the Appalachian Trail. The thing is, since this was your first hike ever, you planned poorly. Your water only lasted for a day, and you needed a refill. There are 4 sources of water before you: a pond, a lake, a juicy cactus, and a stream. Which one should you drink water from? Most cacti are toxic, so you should keep away from them. The waters from the pond and the lake are stagnant water, so this means they could be filled with stuff that isn't good for you. So that leaves the stream water. Way to go, you. Oh, yeah. It's getting rather late, and you realize you're lost in the middle of the forest. Your phone's GPS is not working, and you're standing at a fork in the road. You can choose between 4 roads leading north, south, west, or east. The path that heads north will lead you to a black hole. The road that leads south goes through a lake full of huge whale sharks. The one that leads east passes through a crater-sized hole. And the one that leads west will take you to a sky-high mountain that is impossible to climb over. Which way will you choose? You should head south. Whale sharks pose no threat to people, and it's probably not true that they exist inside that lake. I mean, they are sea creatures. Harry has spent the last 2 weeks in Egypt exploring ancient pyramids. He's an archaeologist, and he was looking for some groundbreaking discoveries on the history of the mummies. Inside one of the pyramids, he found a secret chamber. Written on this chamber's walls was this: if one can answer correctly, an ancient secret will be revealed. And right below this, Harry found a riddle. The next answer that should escape your lips should be the creature wrapped up in cloth strips. Can you guess what Harry should answer? Mummy! He should simply say the word mummy. Tom escaped from prison by digging a long tunnel in the floor of his cell. He had been crawling through the underground tunnel for 3 hours when he saw that the main tunnel was divided into 3 smaller ones. The first tunnel was on fire. The second tunnel was home to a nest of venomous snakes, and the third tunnel was filled with explosives. Which tunnel should Tom take to continue his prison break? He should choose the tunnel with fire. He can put the fire out with the dust from the ground and make his way to freedom.
Yeah!
Sierra wanted to go to her favorite band's concert, but she didn't have enough money to buy the tickets. Her local radio station was putting on a contest, and the winner would get tickets to the show. All she had to do was answer their riddle correctly. She called the radio station, and they asked her, "Every night I'm told what to do, and each morning I do what I'm told. But I still can't escape your scold. What am I?" Sierra won the tickets. Can you guess what she answered? The correct answer is an alarm clock. Sounds just about right, doesn't it? Amy woke up on an estranged island. She looked everywhere for something that could help her escape and found nothing. In the following days, she continued to look for something that could give her some direction, and came across 3 torn pieces of paper that could be joined to make one. She put everything together and managed to escape the island by water, using no other resources than the things she found. Can you figure out how she managed to do that? This one is tricky. Nothing was the name of the boat she found abandoned on the island.
Ooh.
Then she found torn pieces of paper that together made up a map. The map helped to guide her to the nearest inhabited island, and the boat helped her get out by water.
Yes!
Mirabelle walked into her father's deli and asked for a sandwich to go. When she looked to her right, she noticed something extremely out of the ordinary. Take a look at this image. Can you tell what it was? A turtle is hiding under the counter. This sure isn't normal.